Hello, and greetings, lovely person. This is my Redux/redo version of my walkthrough and review of the D&D UK3 module. I hope my voice will sound a lot better in this version when compared to my previous version. I am the Sentinel, the glove worn by the Guardians of Adlerweg. Many years ago, there was open strife between the inhabitants of this area, then known as Berghoff, and the people of the coastal lands beyond the mountains to the—
Emily, can you tell your glove to shut up?
Ralph, it is not a glove. It is a sentient weapon on a mission.
Adlerweg looks like a glove to me.
Emily, its mission to defend the keep of Adlerweg should not be of our concern. It should be the concern of the humans inhabiting Berith. Since we are on our way to Ganaway, I say we should leave it with the mayor in that town.
Ari, I would disagree. Surely some of your brethren dwarves live in the nearby Canv Mountains.
Ophelia. Yes, you are right. Actually, I do have a fourth cousin who I never met that lives not too far from here.
Glad to hear you are agreeing with me. Although I do not have any relatives in this region, I do know that a number of my fellow elves do live throughout the woods of Berith.
What I want to know is, why did the glove choose Emily to be its bearer?
Ugh, does this group ever stop bickering? I should have waited for another group to come by and find me. Indomitable, it stood for centuries, a symbol of order in a world of chaos. Bastion of the pass through the Kemp Mountains, the very stones of the keep of Adlerweg were the stuff of legends. What evil power had strength enough to take it? How were its defenses swept aside? Fell creatures now attend the battlements that overlook the only pass between Berghoff and the sea. This is not a petty problem to be solved by the militia of the local villages. These and more may be needed to withstand the mayhem stirred up by the fall of the keep. Indeed, if the keep is not retaken, and retaken soon, the hold of the Sea Princes itself may be not secured. Now is the time for heroic action. Aided by the Sentinel, former protector of the legendary Guardians of Adlerweg, have you the courage and the determination to rid the keep of its sinister occupants. Hello and greetings to all you fans of RPGs and of Dungeons & Dragons. This is RPGmodsFan, and in this video I will be reviewing and discussing the Dungeons & Dragons module UK3 The Gauntlet, which was written by Graeme Morris and published by TSR UK in 1984. This module was meant for player characters between the levels of 3 to 6. This module was written for AD&D First Edition rules. The Dungeon Master will need to do some work to convert it to 5th Edition rules. This module is the second half and concluding module to the two-part Adlerweg series. On my channel, you will find a video reviewing and discussing the first module of the Adlerweg series, UK2 The Sentinel. Links provided in the description below. As with many UK adventures, and like its predecessor, the UK3 module uses a lot of monsters from the Fiend Folio, which was also published by TSR UK. Most likely this was done to boost sales of the Fiend Folio. This module takes place on the fantasy world of Greyhawk. The UK2 and UK3 modules are set in the region known as the Hold of the Sea Princes. The adventure takes place in the wilderness area known as Berghoff, which is part of the Hold of the Sea Princes. The UK3 module mainly takes place in the mountainous region at the eastern part of the Berghoff region. The adventure in the UK3 The Gauntlet module begins immediately after the events of the preceding UK2 The Sentinel module. In order to give the plot hook and setup of the UK3 module, I will need to describe the events of the UK2 module. Hence, this video will contain spoilers for the UK2 module. If you do not want to hear spoilers for the UK2 module, I would stop here and not listen to the rest of this video. Previously on the Adlerweg series, awoken by the sudden re-emergence of its old enemy, the Sentinel, a sentient, right-handed glove of immense power, found itself alone in the ruins of its last bearer's villa. Alone, that is, save for a pair of odious skulks, who were terrorizing the region. The Sentinel's old foe is the Gauntlet, a left-handed glove of evil and colossal power, whose purpose is the destruction of the Keep of Adlerweg. Desperate for a new bearer who would take it to meet its foe, the Sentinel dominated and used one of these skulks to hopefully attract the attention of worthy adventurers. Our group of adventurers arrive at the village of Kusnir, several miles west of Ganway. Here they were told of problems which the villagers have been having with a skulk which has been acting very strangely. Turns out there was a pair of skulks, but were attacked by two half-orcs. Only the skulk wearing the Sentinel escaped alive. After many adventures and false trails, the adventurers tracked down the skulk to an abandoned lakeside villa. The Sentinel dominated the mind of the skulk for quite some time and has now rendered it harmless. The adventurers were able to easily obtain the Sentinel from the skulk. Now, our group of valiant adventurers are journeying to the village of Ganway, which lays on their way to their ultimate destination, the Keep of Adlerweg. Displayed are the UK2 and UK3 player handout maps of the Berghoff region where the adventures take place. The adventure starts off with the player characters journeying to the village of Ganaway. Warning: the rest of this video will contain minor spoilers for the UK3 module, so players should stop watching here if they do not want to hear any further spoilers for the module. Displayed on the screen is the Sentinel's message to its bearer. Basically, it is a long exposition of the module's backstory. After stopping in and then passing through the village of Ganaway, when the player characters approach and are within sight of the Keep of Adlerweg, the Sentinel will communicate the following to them. My most noble friends, there stands the Keep of Adlerweg. In defense of its walls, a garrison of 100 men might destroy an army of thousands. But it was my purpose to defend the keep against the one force it could not withstand, the sorcerous wrath of the Gauntlet. But it seems that I have failed in this purpose, for I sense that the Gauntlet has captured the keep and is firmly installed within its walls. Yet the keep still stands, and while it does, we may yet recapture it and destroy the Gauntlet's evil power. The keep is, no doubt, well garrisoned, and to attack it openly would be to invite a quick death. There is a better way, however, since my powers include that of opening the magical locks of the keep. If you follow the track and are lucky enough to avoid the eyes of those who may be watching, you will come to the keep's lower gates. These will open at the touch of the one who bears me, and beyond are chambers where you will find a stairway leading up into the heart of the keep. The creature who bears the gauntlet lurks high in the tower. Seek him out, and my destiny will be fulfilled. Ignore the path which runs upwards from the track to the keep's upper gates, since this will surely be well guarded, and not even my powers will open it for you. Make haste, for who knows what evil is being wrought there even now. From this point onwards, I must remain silent, though my other powers will remain available to you. I dare not speak into your minds, for fear that the gauntlet will sense my coming. May good fortune go with you. Personally, when put together, I think both the UK2 and UK3 modules are good. With a little work on the DM's part, they can be made great. I will now be discussing the module itself, and this video will contain spoilers. Unless you are a dungeon master who will be running this module for their players, or are a player who already played through this module and are watching this video for nostalgia purposes, I would suggest not to watch the rest of this video. The two MacGuffins of the Adlerweg series are the Sentinel and the Gauntlet gloves. Long ago, more than 500 years ago, the Gauntlet was created as a weapon by a dark, powerful mage that was part of an invading army to destroy the keep of Adlerweg. When news of the Gauntlet reached the rulers of Berghof, they hastily made a weapon known as the Sentinel to counter the threat. With the arrival of the Sea Princes more than 500 years ago, the invading army was disrupted and the Gauntlet was lost. A century or so ago, the last wearer of the Sentinel brought the glove to his lakeside villa. The Gauntlet was found by a hungry Orgolan, who was chasing after a wild pig. The Gauntlet possessed the will and mind of the Orgolan. Basically, the Orgolan became a slave to the Gauntlet's will. Next, the Orgolan raised an army of gnolls, attacked and conquered the keep of Adlerweg. Instead of destroying the keep, the Gauntlet decided to use it as its base of operations to conduct a reign of terror and conquest. However, the Gauntlet wanted a more powerful bearer than its Orgolan. Through the Orgolan's memory, it knows of Bloodfire, a fire giant who lives nearby in the mountains, and of his daughter. The Gauntlet wants Bloodfire to be its wearer. So, the Gauntlet had the Orgolan order a squad of his gnolls to go out into the mountains and capture Bloodfire's daughter. Bloodfire's daughter usually goes hunting for wild goats by herself. With minimal casualties, the squad of gnolls were able to capture her and bring her back to the keep. Once inside the keep, the Gauntlet had the daughter imprisoned in the keep's magical prison. As mentioned before, the Sentinel was awoken by the sudden re-emergence of its old enemy, the Gauntlet. The player characters have found the Sentinel and are now on their way to the keep of Adlerweg to confront the Gauntlet. Displayed on the screen are the powers that the Sentinel bestows on its wearer. Likewise, displayed on the screen are the powers that the Gauntlet bestows on its wearer. Displayed is the player's handout maps of the Burkhoff region. This module is more of a railroad adventure than its predecessor, UK2 The Sentinel. 1. The player characters start off in the module on their way to the village of Ganaway. 2. From Ganaway, they then head off into the Kampf Mountains via the pass. 3. Once they reach the keep of Adlerweg, their next task is to recapture the keep. 4. Soon afterwards, the fire giant Bloodfire arrives with his army and lays siege to the keep. 5. The player character's next task is to free Bloodfire's daughter from the keep's magical imprisonment system and return her to her father. The module concludes when the player characters have destroyed the Gauntlet. As I stated before, this module is an extreme example of a railroad adventure. It assumes the player characters will comply with the Sentinel's wishes to go to the keep of Adlerweg and confront the Gauntlet. Dungeon masters who have players that love to de-railroad their DM's campaigns and plans, I would suggest not to run this module for such players. Ganaway Village will be burnt and in ruins when the player characters reach it. From the corpses, they will see the attackers were gnolls and war dogs. The attack took place 12 hours ago. In the ruined village, they will hear a barking dog outside of a ruined building. Inside is a badly wounded gnoll chieftain who, if provided aid, will give 2 to 3 pieces of information. Hence, the player characters may learn of the Orgolan, or of the fire giant, or both. Since conquering the keep, the Orgolan has repaired most of the damages of his army's attack. However, no one was able to access the basement level. The basement level of the keep is known as the Undercroft. When the player characters arrive, several of the gnolls have been drinking and are intoxicated. This gives the player characters a better chance at either stealth or combat when avoiding or confronting these gnolls. Instead of a frontal assault, the Sentinel will suggest entering the keep from the lower gates at the Undercroft layer. The stone doors of the lower gates are magically locked, but the Sentinel will be able to unlock and open them. Chamber number 8 is octagonal in shape, and the walls depict a scene from a serene villa on a lakeside. All the doors are concealed and magically locked, which, again, the Sentinel is able to open. Also in this chamber is Leomond's secret chest. Along with treasure, the chest also contains 4 white gems, which are used to release prisoners from the keep's magical prison. I will discuss the magical prison later on. The circular stairways from the octagonal chamber leads up to the dormitory room of the keep, which is labeled as room number 13 on the keep's map. The 6 gnolls currently in this chamber are drunk. In chamber number 11 are 10 drunk gnolls. These gnolls are supposed to keep watch on the battlements, which is labeled number 10 on the map. Because these gnolls are slacking in their duties, the party will be able to approach the Undercroft unobserved. In chamber 22 are 8 half-drunk gnolls. These gnolls are supposed to keep watch on the pass and the trails that lead up to the keep. Unless the party is making no effort to be quiet, they should be able to approach the keep unobserved. On the floor of this room are murder holes to the upper gate of the keep, which is labeled number 3 on the displayed map. In chamber 14 are 14 gnolls and a gnoll leader. These gnolls are lightly intoxicated. Chamber number 18 is the keep's kitchen. Here, the gnoll's witch doctor, a 4th level cleric, and her 5 pet hyenas can be found. Next to the kitchen, in the fuel storage room labeled number 19 on the map, 5 rope-bound prisoners are being kept. All of them are wounded and are the only surviving members of the keep's former garrison. Chamber number 24 is the keep's armory. Residing in this chamber is an ogre, who is the Orgolan's lieutenant, and 4 rogues. When the player characters make their way to the chamber of the keep's former castellan, labeled number 27 on the map, they will encounter the Orgolan wearing the gauntlet. However, before they can do anything, the Orgolan will break a black gem and disappear. The Orgolan has escaped into the keep's magic prison. Soon after the Orgolan and the Gauntlet escape into the keep's magical imprisonment system, the fire giant Bloodfire and his army will arrive at the keep and besiege it. Due to fleeing into the magic prison, the Gauntlet is no longer able to exert its influence, and any remaining monsters in the keep will flee. The instruction book to the keep's magic prison can be found on the desk in the former castellan's chamber. However, due to the fire giant's attack, there will not be enough time for now to study it. When it was published, the Gauntlet module was rather unique because it includes a huge siege with platoons of hobgoblins and lots of other monsters attacking a castle. The events of the siege are supposed to unfold as follows. 1. The fire giant Bloodfire with his army arrives at the keep and lays siege to it. 2. After the first attack, Bloodfire will parley with the player characters and ask for the return of his daughter. 3. Assuming the player characters agree, they must find the secret of the keep's magic prison, free Bloodfire's daughter from there, and return her to her father. 4. Once his daughter is returned, the fire giant and his army will withdraw. The army's initial attack will be loud enough for the player characters to take notice. They will hear the ruckus blast from trumpeteers. Rocks will be hurled by the giant against the walls of the keep. Due to the keep's arrow slits, turret towers, battlements, etc., as well as its stockade and supply of arms, such as bows, arrows, oil, etc., the player characters and any allies, hopefully they freed the 5 prisoners, together will be able to defend the keep from the fire giant's infantry, that is, marching up the keep's path. The initial assault by the army is not meant to massacre the party. The purpose of the attack is to build excitement and tension. Hopefully, the party will be able to deal some damage to the marching infantry. This will then convince Bloodfire to cease his attacks and request a parley. Displayed on the screen is what Bloodfire will shout towards the keep.
Worthless Orgulon, your flea-bitten gang may have set back the first and least of my attacks, but do not deceive yourself that you have won. Neither will I leave so long as you hold my daughter prisoner. Set her free from your sorceress prison, and I will spare your worthless lives. Refuse, and I will grind your miserable bones into the dust, and cast your petty tower till no stone remains standing. You have 2 hours. Think not of escape, for I have many eyes, and I would take pleasure in hunting you down like the dog that you are.
As FYI, Bloodfire has 4 hellhounds that will be on the lookout for anyone trying to escape the keep. This module contains a few oversights by its author. The one I am about to describe is the biggest one. The module gives the Dungeon Master some direction on what to do if the player characters planned the defense of the keep poorly. However, the author completely forgot that the Sentinel's primary purpose is the defense of the keep. So, as a Dungeon Master, if the player characters are planning poorly, then have the Sentinel speak out and give military advice on how the keep should be defended. If the player characters ignore the advice, then during the battle, if things are going poorly, then if need be, have the Sentinel gain an extra power for this encounter only, such as 1 or 2 fireball spells. The Keep's magical prison is a variant of the imprisonment spell, where the unique black gems imprison creatures, and unique white gems releases creatures. To escape from the player characters, the Orgulon used the last of the black gems. There are 4 white gems left. However, they are hidden in the Liliomund's secret chest. This secret chest is located in the pillared and octagonal-shaped chamber that is on the Undercroft layer of the keep, labeled as number 8 on the map. Also trapped inside of the Leomund's secret chest is a revenant, who will be freed when the chest is opened. In addition to the revenant and the 4 white gems, the chest also contains some valuable treasure. In order to release the imprisoned creatures, the white gems must be used in the circular chamber labeled as number 9 on the map, located on the Undercroft layer of the keep. This chamber is called the Release Room. As mentioned earlier, the instruction book to the keep's magical imprisonment system can be found on the desk of the former Castellan's chamber. The book explains how the imprisoned system is operated. It contains a vague reference to the painted room where the white gems can be found, as well as the passphrase needed to open the Leomund's secret chest. The keep's magic prison has 4 cells. Towards the back of the book contains records of prisoners kept in these cells. With the exception of the last 2 entries, all other entries have been crossed out. The last 2 entries state Cell 4, Lorganarch, Bloodfire's daughter, number 3. Although not written, a vault is imprisoned in Cell 2. The Orgulon is in Cell 1. Basically, the magical prison and releasing of its prisoners is a big puzzle for the player characters to solve. If they are having trouble, the Dungeon Master can give hints and clues via the Sentinel. They can release the prisoners in any order they see fit. If they released and returned the fire giant's daughter, but have not released the bearer of the gauntlet, then the sentinel will insist that they do so. If they still refuse to do so, then the sentinel will try to dominate its wearer and force him or her to do so. If the player characters release the Orgolan, they will notice that it no longer wears the gauntlet. The gauntlet has abandoned the Orgolan for a more powerful foe. And that foe's name is Lorganorch, a two-headed troll imprisoned in Cell 4. If the wearer of the sentinel scores a successful to-hit roll on the two-headed troll, then both gloves and the troll are destroyed. The sentinel's wearer will not be harmed. This module is considered concluded with the return of the fire giant's daughter and the destruction of the gauntlet. Roll credits. Displayed are the credits found within the module itself. The UK3 module received good ratings on both Amazon's and Drive-Thru RPG's websites, averaging a 4.3 out of 5 stars between the both of them. Personally, I would rate it lower. In other words, I would rate it as above average, but not good. Many of the customer comments state that the UK3 module is good as a sequel, but not as a good standalone adventure, which I would agree with. The other good comment I found on the module reads as follows. In the gripping conclusion to the Adlerweg series, the embattled heroes find themselves in the shadow of the Great Keep itself, an imposing symbol of righteous vigilance high in the mountains, which has been twisted into a mockery of purity by its evil denizens. Armed with the awesome might of the sentinel, the adventurers will, hopefully, find themselves emboldened and enraged enough to overcome foes well beyond their power. Fire giants, hellhounds, Etons, giant trolls, and revenants are more than enough to send them into flight. Considering that this adventure is scripted for levels 3 to 6, it will take a brave, masterfully played group of heroes to finally reign triumphant. Thank you for watching. Hope this video has been informative and entertaining. Till next time, this is RPGmodsFan saying cheers, have a good day, and goodbye.